If you're a Fraghead, then you've most likely heard of the brand Creed. And if not Creed, then I'm sure the name Aventus is something that you've heard a million times. So I have my fair share of Creeds. I've done a video on my top favorites from the brand, talking about their elaborate history, their ties to royalty, the kind of celebrities that they claim have been wearing Creed fragrances since the very beginning. Creed has been creating fragrances for royalty since 1781. Well, this book claims otherwise. I heard about Gabe Oppenheim and his book, The Ghost Perfumer, through Eugene here on YouTube. Do check out his interview, and also Persolaise, who's done an interview with Gabe Oppenheim. Now, this book is juicy, so much so that I had to talk about it on this channel. Creed has long used its background and its ties to celebrities and royalty as a part of their marketing, and it's worked fabulously. But rumors have been swirling in the industry about whether or not this has been authentic. And when I posted my video a couple years ago on Creed and their history, I already had comments back then saying it's all a hoax, this wasn't true, it was all made up. So these kind of ideas have been swirling around. People have been talking about it for years. So finally, somebody has decided to actually look up this history and write about it. Basically, Gabe Oppenheim is an author. He has a journalistic background. He likes to investigate things, and he's also a self-proclaimed Fraghead. The book reveals that the name Creed actually has no links to perfumery, and Olivia Creed, who's claimed to have created many of Creed's mass hits, actually isn't a perfumer. According to the book, Creed has been using Ghost Perfumers all along, and actually their biggest hits have all been created by not Olivia Creed, as he has been claiming he has, but one particular Ghost Perfumer. Now, Ghost Perfumers are fairly common in the fragrance industry. You have quite a few large, successful brands that use Ghost Perfumers, but granted that the Ghost Perfumer has been compensated. That is not the case, according to this book, with the Ghost Perfumer behind a lot of Creed's massive hits, and nothing near the amount of wealth that the Ghost Perfumer has created for Creed has been compensated for. They have actually been given near nothing. And so the book goes on to explain how this Ghost Perfumer has had a hand in not only the major hits, but also the biggest hit, the best-selling men's fragrance Aventus, which is the inspiration behind the book cover. Now, what I found particularly interesting about this book was not just the witch hunt against Creed, but also the way that Oppenheim reveals how the fragrance industry works as a whole. So therefore, I think this book would be brilliant for people to read if they're trying to understand the mechanisms behind the perfume industry, how it works, how a perfume brief is submitted, how the companies who create fragrances work. Oppenheim touches on the entire clone market that is going on with brands that are cloning fragrances, and how the Aventus clones are actually making huge sales, and that way a perfumer is not only compensated for the brand that they have created a fragrance for, but they're also not compensated for the clones and for all of the copies that are out there of their own work. Oppenheim also highlights how one massive hit with one brand can go on to inspire and become a trendsetter for other brands doing the same thing. So if you have, for example, a huge brand like Gucci has released a super hit, their competitor, let's say Louis Vuitton, decides that they're going to create their own spin or their own take on that massive hit so that they can also get a part of the market share. Oppenheim also talks about luxury fragrance brands and how they will take a massive hit that's already created and that they know is crowd-pleasing, everyone loves, and create their own luxury spin-off, mark up the price by 100 times, and sell it to people who will buy it blindly, thinking that it is the most innovative thing out there. Essentially, luxury brands are no better than the clone brands out there when it comes to morals. Other brands that are mentioned in the book are Anisho, Serjoff, Roja. So the author does talk about the industry as a whole, and I find this immensely interesting. Oppenheim mentions how Estee Lauder herself admitted to not being born somewhere in Europe, but actually being born in Queens, New York. So it really is an insider's view on what is going on behind all of these perfumes that people are buying. So if we hold people accountable in other industries, why wouldn't we hold people in the perfume industry accountable for lying? Why should we let the work of a perfumer go uncredited? Why should we allow anyone to just make up an entire history to create sales? Back when there weren't very many perfume brands out there, maybe I could understand, but now there are literally hundreds of perfume brands out there, even thousands. We all have a choice today when it comes to who we buy from. And so this is a book that I would recommend to anyone who's interested in finding out the true roots of the perfume industry, the ethos behind very many popular brands out there, and essentially the choice is yours. And so if you're interested in learning more, I will leave the links to the interviews with Gabe Oppenheim from other channels, as well as a link to the Ghost Perfumer where you can purchase it yourself. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave your comments below about the fragrance industry or about this book if you have read it, and let's get chatting.